In the spring of 1938, few Americans could avoid the news of Hitler in Germany.
The parade through Berlin's Tiergarten shows that once again Germany has a real army.
That would mean war. When will Nazi aggression end? The democratic nations draw together against
Suddenly, as if in warning to the rest of Europe, Hitler orders all Germany to mobilize at its full war strength. 1.5 million.
Growing anxieties over the increasing power of the Third Reich turned a heavyweight boxing match in June 1938 into an international showdown. In one corner of the ring would be Hitler's pride and joy, Max Schmeling. In the other, the American champion, Joe Louis.
Joe symbolized not only the fight against discrimination, but the struggle against fascism at a time when the entire world was talking about Hitler, Mussolini, anti-Semitism.
Under the ring, Max going around him. Joe Louis leg picked with two straight lefts to the chin.
There was tremendous tension.
A left to the jaw, a right to the head, and Donovan is watching carefully.
I was glued to the radio.
Louis measures him, right to the body, a left hook to the jaw, and Schmeling is down.
We just exploded, shouted, wow!
The count is 5, 6. The men are in the ring. The fight is over. Max Schmeling is beaten in one round.
People shouted out of their windows, Joe won, all up and down the neighborhood.
And still champion, Joe Louis.
We won. It was a victory. And we needed victories very badly at the time.
When 21-year-old Milt Wolf heard the news about Joe Louis, Wolf was already fighting against Hitler in the Spanish Civil War. In that war, Nazi Germany was supporting Francisco Franco's fascist rebels who were about to overthrow Spain's freely elected government.
I was a kid in Brooklyn, okay, and I was caught up in this whole bit of the war in Spain. For myself, it was a commitment to a struggle against fascism.
Milt Wolf joined 2,800 American volunteers in the Abraham Lincoln Brigade. In defiance of American neutrality, they went to defend democracy in what was widely seen as a dress rehearsal for the greater battle with Hitler.
So these were guys who were essentially coming off the street. Most of them had no military training at all. And up to the front they went. They were hitting us with artillery. And they were strafing us with the German planes. And guys were getting killed and wounded. For myself, the war in Spain gave meaning to the word anti-fascism.
By 1938, democracy was doomed in Spain, as it had been in Italy and Austria and Germany. Hitler's ideology and Hitler's armies were a danger to freedom everywhere.
It has now reached the stage where the very foundations of civilization are seriously threatened. Let no one imagine that America will escape, that America may expect mercy, that this Western Hemisphere will not be attacked.
September the 12th, 1938. The entire civilized world, as a CBS broadcast put it, was anxiously waiting to hear Hitler's next threat. It came in an unprecedented live broadcast from the Nazi Party Congress in Nuremberg. Hitler demanded that the Sudetenland, a region of Czechoslovakia inhabited mostly by German-speaking people, become a part of Germany.
The Columbia Broadcasting System has brought its listeners the address by Adolf Hitler. At this time, we present H.B. Kaltenborn.
Good afternoon, everybody. Adolf Hitler has spoken, and the world has listened. The world has listened because it feared that this speech might mean war.
The British Prime Minister, Neville Chamberlain, who'd never been on an aeroplane before, flew to Germany twice within 10 days to seek a peaceful settlement.
Just to see on the newsreel screen Chamberlain coming there with his umbrella, it's unthinkable to the German mind. Hitler with an umbrella, you know. You laugh when you think about that. We thought they were weak.
Chamberlain failed. Hitler refused to withdraw his demands. The Sudetenland would be his one way or the other. War now seemed inevitable. In Britain, nervous citizens began to build bomb shelters. In France, army reserves were called up. And then, only 24 hours before Hitler's promised invasion of Czechoslovakia, Prime Minister Chamberlain once again flew to Germany. At a meeting in Munich with Hitler and Italy's Benito Mussolini, Chamberlain abandoned the Sudetenland to Germany in return for what he called peace in our time. Hitler gave his word that there would be no more territorial claims. Chamberlain flew home to a hero's welcome from a Britain anxious to avoid another conflict after the devastating slaughter of World War I only 20 years earlier.
And here is the paper which bears his name upon it as well as mine. As symbolic of the desire of our two peoples never to go to war with one another again.
Chamberlain got what he thought was peace. Hitler got the Sudetenland.
To us Germans, it was a great thing. Their land is bordering on Germany, and as the Sudeten people were Germans, so we thought, yes, well, why should they live in Czechoslovakia?
On October the 1st, 1938, Hitler welcomed 3.5 million Czechoslovakians of German blood into the Reich. Hitler's reception was a replay of Austria. As Hitler was being cheered in the Sudetenland, the Nazis' campaign against German Jews was intensifying, very much aided by an incident in Paris. On November the 7th, a young Jew, Herschel Grinspan, distraught over the deportation of his parents, walked into the German embassy in Paris and shot a minor official, Ernst von Rath.
Whilst he was fighting death, the newspapers carried headlines, banner headlines against the Jewish people. The Jews have taken off their mask from their face. They have shown now what they want to do to us. It was dreadful. We said, if only this man does not die. But of course he died.
Von Rath's death became Hitler's opportunity. Only a junior diplomat, Von Rath was nonetheless accorded the honors of a fallen hero. The ceremony was intended to inspire revenge. For once, said Joseph Goebbels, the Jews should get the feel of popular anger. That anger exploded on the night of November the 10th, 1938. Kristallnacht.
I saw the synagogue in flames. People came from all over. The fire department came. They did not make one effort to put out the flames. Kids were laughing, kids were having fun. I heard, kill the Jews, kill the Jews.
For 24 hours, Nazi stormtroopers rampaged through Germany and Austria, destroying synagogues and shops. The night of broken glass, in German, Kristallnacht. Scores of people were killed, more than 20,000 arrested. It was now clear there was no future for Jews in Germany.
For the first time in America, it broke through a certain part of the awareness that something horrible was happening in Hitler's Germany. Roosevelt himself said he just was incomprehensible to imagine that such a thing could happen in the 20th century. And still people felt, we've seen what happened when we get involved in Europe's wars. This is Europe's problem.